Hi, everyone.
It is honestly so exciting to have this many hoteliers back in a room, learning from each other, talking to each other. It's been a while since we got a group like this together in one room, so thank you for being here.
Yeah, great to see everyone.
We were, I'll tell a little anecdote. We can go off script immediately from the get-go. A few years ago, we were in New Orleans and we were planning for an event, and it was our first trade show. So we'd flown in with these stickers that we were going to put on a booth, and we went to, what was that shop that we went to?
I think it was Home Depot.
Home Depot to buy the stand.
In New Orleans.
And then we were like, we have no budget for a television, so we went into our Airbnb. So we stole the television of our Airbnb, dragged it to the show. And it's great to see that the production value has definitely increased since that time. And we have about 750 hoteliers and partners that are here today, which is our biggest event. And I hope you'll enjoy it. And the goal really has been around driving inspiration. We've got 42 different speakers throughout the day in 2 different venues, so you need to pick where you're going to go. But most importantly, for every attendee, we will plant 2 trees, because there's obviously carbon emissions, and we work with hotels for trees. So for every single attendee that signed up, we will be planting a tree as well.
Yeah, you'll see them right in the corner of that. Woo! So why are we talking about the new standard? I think the theme for the event is the new standard, and we've got a lot of really exciting speakers here talking about how they're actually changing the industry, how they're changing the status quo. I think for us, the way that we see it is that this is an incredibly exciting time, an incredibly exciting decade to be a hotelier. I think that the things that were always 30 years away, I think that they're finally coming true, and hopefully we're doing our bit to contribute to that. I think the interoperability between systems, the way that they talk to each other, that is now slowly becoming a fact. The idea of automation in our back-end systems, the way that we actually kind of greet the guests, do all of those things, basically. We're moving away from admin and much more into actually the way that we can actually relate to our guests. The time when we'll all have a kind of chat GPT in our ears telling us what to say to our guests, or in my case, what to say to a crowd of 700 people in an audience, that is really very much, today. I think everyone probably in this room has played around with technology like that. And I think those are the types of things that I think are going to be coloring the way that we think about the new standard, the way that we think about the purpose of travel. Is it just going to be going for 1 or 2 days to go and see a client, or is it actually going to see your team members because we're all going to be remote, or is it going to actually be to make sure that we're spending a lot of quality time with the people that we need to be with? The focus on experiences, I think we've talked about the experience economy for a really, really long time in our industry, and it's finally becoming true. We're finally getting the right systems to be able to manage that, to be able to actually think about how we manage all of the different experiences and all of the different customers that are going to actually kind of want to have a personalized experience. The way that we use spaces for those facts, the way that we think about flexibility in our spaces, I think that that's also going to be a really, really exciting development. I think that when we think about hotels and when we think about the excitement that we feel for this industry, we think in the same way that Mark Andreessen once said, software is eating the world. We think that hotels are eating real estate. We think that services are going to be part of what actually makes the world. And for that, I think that we as an industry are really at the forefront of that. So I think from that perspective, today's all about rethinking, going away from standard operating procedures to actually now thinking about, the new standard of delightful customer experiences that you can actually create and the outcomes that you can create for everyone.
So we know that you're spending a day away from your operations. Some of you have traveled in from, I think some people even from Japan, from LA. So there's a lot of time that you're spending away from the operation, and we want to make sure that you walk away at the end of this day with some inspiration, so that hopefully you go back into the operation and you do 1 or 2 things differently, or you try out something. And I think that's the goal for us today. This isn't us showing our product. It's really about inspiring you to think out of the box once every so often. And I find when I'm at a conference and I'm off my phone and I'm just really engaging with the content, that some of the best ideas come out, and that's the goal for today. So as we have the new standard, we need to now help you discover it. And we've got some incredible speakers that are going to talk us through that. So we're going to start with Tom Ito, who's going to talk about how design impacts the human experience in hotels. Then we're going to talk about rethinking the new standard and empowering teams with technology. So that'll be an interesting session from some really special people that we work very closely with. Right before lunch, we're going to go into the power of people. So really looking at how do we make sure that we have the right people in place, and how do we make sure that we give something back to the community. After lunch, right after you've had your coffee, I will be taking you through big bets with a fantastic panel. So big bets in hospitality, innovation, and then we're going to talk about hybrid. So what does a hybrid environment of hotel or space look like? And then Leah's going to take us through remarkable experiences, so really around branding and marketing. And then we're going to end with a little nugget of what Mews will be looking at developing in the future. So we have our Chief Product Officer closing the day with some really exciting innovations.
News. And then concurrently, you'll also see the workshop stages, which is basically on the top floor of here. So you'll have some great speakers there talking about data and revenue maximization, operational excellence, distribution, revenue management, and payment automation. And I think that all of those sessions are going to be fantastic. So if you have the time, it's a bit of a trek up the stairs, I know, but get your Fitbits in.
So if you can't keep up with the scheduling, etc., there's an app. You've probably had several SMSs to download it and get access to it. It has the full agenda. So this is the main stage. When you go out here, there's in the foyer, you've got our different partners that you can meet with. You go up one floor, coffee for on the way up. One more floor, which is where the Mews product teams will be, if you want to see more of the products. And then the top floor is where the workshops will be that Richard just talked about. But all of that sits in the app, and throughout, we work with Slido, so if you have questions when we're on panel discussions, it's a really great way to engage.
Yeah, and always use the hashtag NewsUnfold or NewsUnfold. And so always make sure that you're tagging that to engage the community of people who can't sadly be here.
And that is also the code for Slido. So if you go to slido.com, you use NewsUnfold to ask different questions to the different panels. And the Mews experience I just talked about is 2 floors up, where we have a few stands with our product team. So if you want to spend some time really digging in and asking the difficult questions that we don't anymore know how to answer, they will know on the second floor.